Ever notice how certain colors hit you harder than others? Like how a red sale sign reels you in faster than any persuasive slogan? Or why that one shade of pink in a holding cell can cause chaos instead of calm? Yep, colors have a secret life, and they've been messing with your brain since the beginning. I'm Mike with List 25, and these are 25 crazy, incredible facts about the psychology of color. 25. Red and dominance. Red has this almost unfair way of taking over a room, a field, or even a scoreboard. It's not just cultural symbolism. Your brain actually reads red as a sign of strength, urgency, and dominance. That's why athletes who wear red often end up performing better, or are at least perceived as stronger. It's like the color does some of the psychological heavy lifting for them. Even referees, who are supposed to be neutral, tend to score red-wearing opponents as more aggressive or more likely to win. That subtle bias can shift outcomes in competitive settings without anyone realizing what's happening. And here's the fun twist. This effect shows up even when people insist they're not influenced by color at all. Turns out, our brains have their own secret voting system, and red somehow gets extra ballots. Once you notice it, you'll start seeing it everywhere. 24. Time speeding red. Red does more than just grab your attention. It messes with how you experience time itself. When a space is filled with red, your brain shifts into a high alert mode. Your heart rate goes up, your senses sharpen, and time starts to feel like it's moving faster than normal. That's why warning signs, emergency buttons, countdown clocks, and danger labels almost always use red. The color signals urgency before you even have a chance to think about it, pushing your brain to react quickly. You might not notice your sense of time speeding up, but your nervous system does. Your body is being pushed into overdrive whether you realize it or not. That's useful when fast decisions matter, but it comes at a cost. Spending long periods surrounded by red would be exhausting, not calming, as trying to relax in a bright red room would feel overwhelming, even stressful. Red puts your mind on edge, keeps your body ready to move, and makes everything feel rushed. It's essentially a psychological stimulant, turning the world up to fast forward and making it the most intense and demanding color we use. 23. Yellow's anxiety switch. Yellow gets a cheerful reputation, but your brain has a very different reaction to it when the shade is too intense. Bright, saturated yellow hits the visual system harder than nearly any other color, and your brain treats it as kind of a warning signal. It fires up faster in the part of your mind associated with alertness and anxiety, as if you're supposed to pay attention because something might need caution. That's why yellow is used for hazard signs, wet floor warnings, and anything that needs to be noticed instantly. The color grabs you whether you want it to or not. 22. The downside of too much yellow. There's a reason interior designers warn against filling a room with bright yellow. While soft, muted yellows can feel warm and pleasant, heavy doses of vibrant yellow crank up irritability. It's not because people hate the color. It's because your brain gets overstimulated by it. The constant visual intensity nudges your nervous system into a restless, slightly on-edge state. There are even studies that have shown how babies tend to cry more in bright yellow rooms, which is probably why nurseries moved away from that color trend. Adults, on the other hand, don't simply cry on cue, but the effect is still there. You might feel tense, impatient, or just oddly uncomfortable without knowing why. Yellow works best in small hits, like accents or highlights, where its energy boosts the space without overwhelming your senses. Too much of it, though, feels like your brain's being poked non-stop by a highlighter. 21. Blue, the appetite killer. Blue might be the world's favorite color, but when it comes to food, your brain treats it with suspicion. In nature, blue foods are rare, and when they do appear, they often indicate spoilage or potential toxicity. That evolutionary wiring is still present, suppressing your appetite when you see blue on your plate. This is why diet hacks sometimes include eating off blue plates or using blue lighting in dining spaces. The color subtly signals, maybe don't eat that. Restaurants almost never use blue for branding or decor in dining areas for the same reason. Even artificially colored blue foods like candies or drinks often feel more fun than appetizing. They're appealing in a novelty way, but don't stimulate hunger. 20. Blue for focus. Blue has a clean, calming influence on the mind, making it great for focus. Instead of overwhelming your brain with haste or stimulus, blue promotes a peaceful, attentive state in which you can pay attention for longer periods of time without feeling exhausted. That's why so many tech companies choose blue in their logo. It conveys dependability and clarity. It's also why blue is a popular color for study rooms, offices, and productivity applications. The color lowers stress levels just enough to keep you from spiraling into distraction while nudging your brain into a more focused rhythm. You feel clearer, steadier, and mentally organized. It's the visual equivalent of taking a slow, centering breath. If you've ever noticed you work better near a window with blue skies peeking through, that's your brain responding exactly the way it's wired to. 19. Green, the creativity booster. Green acts as a silent trigger that moves through the human brain into a far more imaginative state. Simply catching a sight of greenery, whether it's a real plant or a vivid landscape, can help you generate fresh ideas. The brain seems to link this specific color with moving forward and finding new chances. Evolution played a massive role here. Areas filled with green plants were usually safe and abundant, encouraging our ancestors to explore their surroundings instead of hiding from danger. That relaxed mental state is great for creativity. Your mind isn't forced or racing, it just feels calm and receptive. That's why smart offices fill their creative zones with plants and green decor. It's more than just a nice view. They are actually triggering a biological shift that allows people to make connections faster and tackle complex problems with a far more flexible mindset. 18. Green and eye comfort. Being around green causes your eyes to rest almost immediately because they don't have to adjust or work as hard. This is why old computer displays and night vision screens frequently employed green. It kept operators comfortable throughout lengthy periods of looking. Even now, when screens can display every color imaginable, many interface designers still lean on green for long-term visibility. Beyond tech stuff, this comfort effect shows up in nature as well. Walking through a green environment gives your eyes a break from harsh urban angles and artificial brightness. That small sense of ease translates into a calmer mindset. 17. The Baker-Miller pink effect. This shade of pink has one of the strangest reputations in color psychology. Baker-Miller pink was introduced as a calming color in prisons, supposedly capable of reducing aggressive behavior. And for the first few minutes, it actually worked. Inmates became noticeably more relaxed. But then, things flipped. After that short window, aggression began to rise, and sometimes it spiked even higher than before. It's like the brain adapted to that calming cue and then completely overcorrected. The fallout became so notorious that facilities eventually ditched the color altogether. What is fascinating is how specific that shade had to be. Altering it even slightly killed the effect. This whole experiment proves how fast the brain reacts to color and how unpredictable those responses become when pushed to extremes. It was a total psychological backfire. 16. Why purple feels mystical. Purple is the only color that requires a secret recipe from your brain. Since your eyes cannot see it on their own, your mind has to fuse red and blue light into one experience. This added bit of processing is why purple feels so much more intense and magical than the rest of the rainbow. In reality, you're just seeing a high-speed mental interpretation. Your brain is basically a master artist creating a beautiful illusion. Previously, it was rare and costly to produce, which only added to its aura of exclusivity and magic. Even today, when purple is easy to create, the vibe hasn't changed. It still feels dramatic, symbolic, or slightly surreal. There's something about it that just doesn't register as purely natural, and that subtle disconnect keeps your mind curious. Purple is less what you see and more what your brain decides you're seeing. 15. Black's authority illusion. Black has a natural weight to it, almost like the color walked into the room knowing it owns the place. When someone sports black, Others tend to think they're sharper, smarter, and more in command. The color doesn't actually grant you authority, but it acts like a megaphone for your confidence. That's exactly why formal gear and high-stakes uniforms are almost always black. It creates a clean, solid look that hides flaws and makes you appear much more focused. However, be careful, because that same vibe can make you feel totally intimidating to everyone around you. It commands attention and respect instantly, a silent visual trick your subconscious can't ignore. 14. Black and slimming effects. Black has always been the go-to hue for folks who seek a leaner look, and the psychology behind it is more than just fashion legend. It's visual science. Because black absorbs light rather than reflecting it, it lowers shadows and the illusions of contours. As a result, your brain ends up seeing smoother, more continuous shapes, creating the illusion of slimmer contours. That's why black clothing feels like a cheat code in the wardrobe world. This effect shows up in design as well. Black backgrounds make objects look more compact and focused, while other colors highlight size differences. The slimming impression isn't about hiding flaws, it's about the way your visual system translates contrast. At the end of the day, black doesn't make things smaller, it makes your brain think they're easier to process. 13. White and slow time. On the opposite side of the spectrum, white rooms always seem cleaner, brighter, and whiter. But there's another weird effect that comes with all that brightness. They can make time feel slower. When you're in a space filled with stark white, your brain processes fewer visual cues, which slows down the way you mentally mark time passing. It's the same reason waiting rooms used to be almost entirely white. Designers believe the sterile look created a sense of calm. But instead, many people just ended up feeling like they were stuck in a time loop. Total whiteout creates a weird sensory echo, where everything feels hollow but intense all at once. The brightness keeps your brain wired, yet the lack of scenery drags out every single second. Used right, white feels crisp and open. It's all about balance. Overused, it turns into a psychological slow-motion button nobody asked for. 12. Orange and cheapness cues. Orange is an interesting color because it carries this natural sense of enthusiasm, but your brain also links it with affordability. Retailers figured this out ages ago and started using orange on sales tags, discount signs, and clearance labels. The effect sticks because orange triggers a low-stakes, high-energy vibe. It feels exciting without feeling expensive. Unlike red, which signals urgency, or yellow, which warns you, orange tells your brain, go ahead. This is a safe, fun choice. That's why fast food chains, bargain stores, and budget-friendly brands use orange so often. This bright hue is a secret weapon for lowering psychological resistance. It makes costs feel manageable rather than intimidating. Even in digital shops, orange buttons win because your brain thinks the commitment is tiny. It makes every purchase feel totally approachable and takes the fear out of spending. 11. Orange and energy uptake. Orange does more than look affordable. It actually gives your body a physical boost. This warm brightness triggers your brain to stay alert and sharp. You'll see it in gyms because the shade forces you into a more active state. It's the perfect color for keeping your energy high. You might not be able to run faster right away, but you'll feel more awake. This powerful drive happens without the stress of red, which can be upsetting. Orange is a good mix of warmth and motivation. It tells you, you've got this, without yelling it at you. No wonder it shows up in sports gear, outdoor gear, and anything else that makes you feel good. 10. Brown and reliability. Brown might not seem exciting, but it's actually a powerhouse for building deep trust. Because it reminds us of the earth, wood, and stone, your brain instantly sees it as solid and dependable. That's why delivery giants and outdoor brands live for this color. It screams honesty and durability without being flashy. Brown doesn't need to shout for attention. Instead, it feels like a firm, steady handshake that tells you everything is under control. Using these tones in a room makes people feel safe and anchored, like the floor beneath them is totally sturdy. In a world full of loud, annoying visuals, brown reminds you of things that truly last and structures that never fail. It's the ultimate color for feeling relaxed, secure, and completely free from any unwanted surprises. 9. Gray and emotional drain. Gray is a total mystery because it sits right between light and dark. This middle ground actually messes with your mood more than you think. While a little gray looks classy, too much of it can completely drain your energy. It basically confuses your brain. It isn't exciting enough to grab your attention, but it isn't cozy enough to help you relax. This blah feeling can leave you stuck or totally uninspired. Offices used to love gray because it looked professional, but they soon realized it just made everyone feel bored and sluggish. Your mind sees gray as a permanent pause button, like the world's stuck on standby. It isn't a bad color, but it needs a pop of life to work. Otherwise, your emotions just hover in neutral with absolutely nowhere to go. It's a total mood killer. 8. Color and taste perception. Your taste buds do their job, but your brain has a major say in how food actually tastes. And color is one of its favorite ways to influence you. People consistently rate red drinks as sweeter, even when there's no extra sugar. Yellow drinks seem more citrusy, green feels fresher, and blue often tastes cooler and more refreshing. It's not that the flavor changes, it's that your brain fills in expectations based on color. Companies use this trick all the time in packaging and advertising because it shapes your experience before you even take a single sip. Even plating matters. A dish served on a brightly colored plate can seem more intense or sweeter than the same food on a neutral plate. Your brain wants patterns, and color gives it clues, even if those clues have nothing to do with actual flavor. 7. Red plates and eating less. Using red plates is a secret trick to shrink your appetite. It makes you eat less without you ever even realizing what happened. Your brain associates red with stop signs and danger, which are signals that force you to be careful. When your food sits on a red background, that caution signal hits your subconscious immediately. It won't make your dinner look bad, but it definitely interrupts that mindless keep eating habit. You'll find yourself pausing more or taking smaller bites without trying. This works because your brain is hardwired to react to red as a warning. Some researchers believe the bright contrast is too intense for a relaxed meal. The effect is so reliable that people use it as a simple tool to control their portions. It's like having a visual stop sign right in front of your face while you eat. 6. Warm colors and memory. Think of warm hues like red and yellow as a biological highlighter for your mind. These colors boost your emotional engagement, which makes it much easier to store information long term. Whenever your world feels bright and active, your brain assumes it's something you need to remember. This is the big reason emergency signs and iconic brands rely on warm accents. They force their way to the very top of your mental queue. In an educational space, small touches of these tones can sharpen your recall without feeling overwhelming. Too much intensity is stressful, but just enough makes information truly stick. Your brain views warm colors as giant exclamation points that are loud and impossible to miss. That spark of emotional energy is what makes a moment memorable. 5. Red objects look faster. There's a long-running joke about red cars getting pulled over more, but there's actually some psychology behind why people think red objects move faster. Your brain processes red with heightened alertness, interpreting it as more energetic or intense. So when anything red moves, a car, a ball, or even a person, it seems faster than the same object in blue or gray. Red triggers your attention circuits, making action seem more urgent. That's why red is commonly used in sportswear, racing branding, and fast food design. The color creates a sensation of movement and motion. It's not that your eyes can't keep up, rather your brain is working ahead of them, believing that everything red is already moving. 4. Color and temperature perception. Color can actually trick your brain into thinking the temperature has changed when it really hasn't. Even if the thermostat stays the same, warm tones like red and orange make a room feel a few degrees hotter. It's all a mental game. We connect those shades with fire and sunlight, so our brain falls for the illusion every time. Meanwhile, cool colors like blue and green make the air feel lighter and more breezy. This is more than just a style choice. It has a real impact on your comfort. Designers use this secret trick all the time in climate-sensitive spaces. It's a color-based mind game that your brain is happy to play, changing your reality without you ever questioning it. 3. Green's evolutionary superpower. Green isn't just easy on the eyes. It actually signals your brain that you are safe and sound. Since forever, green plants have signaled where humans could find food and water. This is why your nervous system automatically calms when you're surrounded by nature. It communicates a sense of abundance, letting your body drop its guard and finally relax. You might not notice it, but the color itself causes a biological sigh of relief throughout your entire system. This peaceful state is also great for making decisions because your mind feels safe enough to stop and plan. It's incredible to think that a simple color can act as such a powerful psychological anchor. It triggers reflexes that have been quietly steering the human race and our behavior for thousands of years. 2. Men versus women. Color perception. Men and women experience color differently, and it's not just a matter of preference. It's biological. According to research, women are better at distinguishing small color differences, particularly in the red-orange spectrum. This may originate from evolutionary purposes, where differentiating ripe fruits or healthy plants was crucial. Men, on the other hand, are better at seeing motion in contrast, which may have helped them track movement when they were hunting. These differences still show themselves in funny ways today. Women often use specific words to describe colors like teal or coral. Men, on the other hand, would merely see blue or pink. Their brains process wavelengths differently, even when they're looking at the same item. 1. Color-changing sound perception. When listening to music or ambient noise, warm colors make sounds appear louder and more intense, whereas cool colors soften them. It's a type of cross-sensory interaction in which your brain integrates visual and audio information, whether you want it to or not. Some studies even suggest that people perceive the identical sound as higher pitched when coupled with yellow or white, and lower pitched when combined with deeper hues such as blue or purple. This effect can be seen in a variety of settings, including concert lighting and restaurant decor. Bright, warm-toned settings can make a space feel dynamic but noisy, whereas cooler palettes provide a calmer, quieter atmosphere. Your brain is continually blending signals, forming your experience using a combination of senses. And that's all for today. Those were 25 crazy, incredible facts about the psychology of color. Some colors calm you down. Others push you to move faster, eat less, or trust more than you realize. And most of the time, your brain is making those decisions before you even notice. Thank you guys so much for watching. If any of those surprised you, or if there's a color effect I missed, let me know in the comments below. Like I say, always like, share, comment, subscribe, notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, no, you know what? What's your favorite color? Let me know in the comments below. I'm kind of partial to like teal, aqua, that kind of range of colors. What's your favorite color monorail at Disney World?